What up guys, welcome to angelasavalon's YouTube channel. I'm Angela. Subscribe, hit the like button, and don't you leave your feedback down at the end of the video. So please do watch until the end of the video. So in this video tonight, or today, whenever it is that you're watching this video, I'm gonna be talking about moon in the 12th house synastry. So if you don't know what synastry means, synastry is basically two individual natal charts on top of each other or right next to each other, and basically it's an compatibility overlay between two people. So with all that being said, I'm gonna get right into it. So when someone's moon comes into your 12th house, hitting your 12th house, because 12th house synastry is gonna feel like that. Every person that their personal planets every person that their personal planets come into your 12th house, you're gonna feel like they're hitting your 12th house, like they're activating the most sacred, secretive part of yourself. Okay, like there's a reason why the 12th house rules the subconscious, synchronicity, or hidden parts of ourselves, or self-undoing, sanctuaries, mental hospitals. Everything that, all of that has to do with very much with the 12th house. So when someone's moon, the moon is the planet that rules our emotions, our emotional nature, our needs, or what we need to survive in this lifetime. So when someone's moon comes into your 12th house, first of all, I want to say that if it's a heterosexual, even if it's not a heterosexual dynamic, but especially if it's a heterosexual dynamic, and I'm saying especially because that's the one I'm experienced at, so I can confirm. So if it's a heterosexual dynamic, it's gonna very much feel like love at first sight. Like the moment that the house person sees the moon person, they're gonna feel as if, like, the moment that the moon person comes into contact with the house person, the house person is gonna feel like they have found, or they have been into contact with the man or woman of their dreams, like their ideal type. It's gonna feel so deep and so immense internally. It's gonna be pretty much unforgettable, especially the first interaction. The first interaction between these two is gonna feel unforgettable. And I want to say it can go vice versa. The moon person can be the one that felt the love at first sight feeling sensation, but in my case, I was the house person and it was me, but it can go vice versa. I'm sure for a lot of people, they were the moon person who experienced that. And sometimes, in some cases, it was mutual thing. But usually one feels way more than the other, I want to say. Usually, right? In most cases, it's one feels more than the other. And not only that, but this kind of placement that can feel very like one-sided, and it can be very much like unrequited love. The 12th house synastry is very known for unrequited love, and for good reason. It is very much unrequited love kind of a placement, and not I mean, I'm talking about moon in the 12th house synastry specifically, but the 12th house synastry in itself is very much like that. Personal planets hitting you, like someone's personal planets hitting your 12th house, right? Which I also have a video about 12th house synastry in general, but I can make another one for you guys if you want. Just so comment down below, guys, if that's something that you would like. By the way, if you see like an ATM in the background, I'm sitting like inside of a bank, recording this video. I hope it's legal. I mean, it's pretty cold outside, and that's like the only place I have privacy right now. So just, whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes to make this video and build up this channel, right? So yeah. So with all that being said, so yeah, I wanna say that, so not only, it can very much provoke a scenario of unrequited love, a one-sided kind of dynamic scenario, right? It's also, the 12th house, because the 12th house is ruled by Neptune, the planet of deception and lies, manipulation. I'm not going to lie, guys. Be very careful who's hitting your 12th house, because this person, and it can also go vice versa, it can also be a mutual thing, actually. At least within time, it can become a mutual thing. One of you, either the moon person or the house person, it can be very easy to deceive with this overlay, okay? Deception comes very easy with this overlay, okay? Lying to each other can become very easy, lying, making up stuff, storytelling, literally any kind of lie that you can think of. It's Neptune really rules fiction, so you can just lie for no reason. Like in my case, this is actually something I experienced quite recently. I met this guy, okay? I met this guy at my workplace a few months ago, and I fell in love with him, okay? His moon is in my 12th house, okay? And the first moment that I saw him, it was like love at first sight. I will never forget the first moment that I saw him. It was like, completely drawn and enamored by him. Almost like it's like this placement is very much like a love spell. You feel like the other person put some sort of a love spell on you, or you've been hit with some sort of a unexplained love spell, So what happened in my case with this guy is that our first interaction, well, not our first interaction, but our first day working together, he actually lied to me. Okay, it's so funny looking at it back, because in a way it's so silly, it's even though he lied to me, it's like innocent, it's very he innocently lied to me in a way. So he said that he spent time with his son the other day. He said that he has a son, and that when he was 14, he had a relationship with a woman who was 19, who was older than him. And she basically raising his son, right? So, mind you, it was the first time me meeting him, and it seemed this kind of story seemed so reasonable to me and so innocent to me that I never thought about it to be a lie. So, and he showed me pictures of him, and mind you, it's the same. I actually already mentioned this guy in my 8th house synastry, in my recent 8th house synastry videos. His Mars is also in my 8th house. It's the same young Asian man I mentioned in my recent synastry videos. So he told me that he has a son, and he showed me pictures of him. He's like this little Asian boy, and it made sense to me, right? But no, he doesn't have a son. He admitted to not having a son a little while ago. But the thing is, it's it's quite funny, because it's like, even though it's like a white lie, or it's a silly lie, right? Because it's not like, yeah, lied to me and deceived me in this serious way, or like in some dark way, right? It's a silly lie, because even now I think it's kind of cute that he lied about that, but nonetheless, it was still very deceiving deceitful, and it was one of my first interactions with him was a lie, and it's very much moon in the 12th house, okay? But here's the thing, in my case, it also like happened to be like that, but the thing is, a lot of people are gonna attract, it's very, the reason why I'm saying to be careful is that a lot of people can attract scammers, like people who want to scam you with these overlays. It can get very dangerous. But even in my situation, in just this little innocent silly lie, that he made up, about having a son, which by the way, it's a boy babysits, if I haven't mentioned. It's a boy babysits, and he just made up that he was a son. Because I just think and he told us about like all the people that we work with, so, and almost none of them believed him. I was actually the only one who believed them, and this is what I mean. It's very easy to be deceived with, it's very easy to believe a person who hits your 12th house. So, and that's the thing, because usually I'm very analytical, and I'm very cynical even, but it's like with him, it was like an exception to my rule. Like everything he said, I wanted to believe it, even though I didn't really believe it, because there were times that I was like, oh, inside of my mind, I was like, oh, I don't think it's like I don't think it's his actual son. Like, I don't think that little boy is actually his son, but I pretended to believe him because I wanted him to be on my good side or something. And that's what happened. Like moon in the 12th house, especially, it can be vice versa, but I want to say especially the house person is gonna, especially if it's a woman, she's gonna want to be like, if you're the house person, you're a woman, especially a young woman, you're gonna feel like you want to be perfect for the moon person. It can be similar to a moon conjunction Neptune in synastry. Moon conjunction Neptune is very rare to have in synastry. You don't see it very often. And I want to say moon in 12th house is as close as you would get. So yeah, one of my first interactions with him was a lie. It might be an innocent little lie, but a lie, and that's actually not, and I want to say I think he realized it was, in general, that it was easy to deceive me because I wanted to be so, because I was so enamored by him, and what you gotta realize is, that's what I'm saying, especially, what you gotta realize is that, especially if it's like a young, not only a heterosexual relationship, but if it's young people like me and him, and that the house person is a young woman such as myself, it's giving, the house person is gonna give very much damsel in distress if you're a young woman, okay? I can confirm from experience, me being the house person, that I was very much the damsel in distress, And the thing is, it doesn't have to be quite literal. Like, it doesn't have to be quite literal, but it's almost like, no matter what the house, if it's a young woman, a young heterosexual woman, no matter what she's as the house person, no matter what she's gonna do, she's always gonna come off as this young damsel in distress kind of aura, It's like I couldn't help but give him this aura, I think. And it's very much gonna do that. And the 12th house is actually notorious for that in synastry. The damsel in distress is very much 12th house. It's very much like the prince that saves the princess, and it's very much like that. It's very much, that's why 12th house and Neptune, they rule fiction, they rule love stories, love fantasy, wonderland. All of that is very much 12th house and very much Neptune. Also, another thing that I want to say, I don't know how many astrologers out there say that, but I'm going to say it for you guys. Having moon or any other personal planet like the moon, like someone's moon hitting your 12th house, it's going to be very much like having a square between Neptune. Like moon in the 12th house is very much like having moon square Neptune sometimes, because it can be very draining. It can be very... And draining for multiple reasons, okay? It can be draining for multiple reasons. This is the kind of placement that can take there is really no saying how what kind of scenario will take place. In my case, it was because for some people it might be like a psychiatrist patient kind of case. It wasn't my case with this guy, but for some people it will be. So it really depends. Look at your situation. Look what's happening between you and the other person. With me, it was sometimes kind of draining, and sometimes it felt like a moon square Neptune, because I felt like I was very unheard and unappreciated by him, even though his Venus hits my 10th house. And he made it public, like he multiple times said like out loud to everybody at work that I'm gonna be a great manager, that I deserve a promotion. He spoke very highly of me. So like professionally, I felt very seen by him. But what you gotta realize is that as a young woman, I felt very unseen and unappreciated by him. I'm not gonna lie, he kind of broke my heart multiple times, and I only known him for a few months. Yeah, this is what I mean. This is why it might feel like a square, like a moon square Neptune, moon opposition Neptune, but more like the square, like very much like a moon square Neptune. As well as the conjunction, I would say it feels a lot like the conjunction as well, because 12th house, it's a very psychic house, and it's the house that rules prophetic dreams. And I'm not gonna lie, I had dreams about this guy, dreams that manifested in freaking reality, you guys. First of all, I had multiple dreams about him. But this one dream that I had, was actually the first time that he ever appeared in my dreams. It was after my first heartbreak from him. That night, I dreamt a dream about him. And that dream literally manifested like a month later. It manifested. And what's so unfortunate about this overlay is that you're gonna have the universe is gonna send you messages through the spirits are gonna send you messages through your dreams about that person, to warn you, to keep you safe, but because you're so enamored by them and so hypnotized by the other person, by the moon person or the house person, whoever you are in the situation, you're gonna almost like make excuses. It's almost like no matter how much warnings you're gonna get, like God himself can just show up from above, tell you this person are walking red flag, and you're still gonna be like, yeah, you know what, I think I can handle it, and I think I think that's BS, like you're gonna and you're still gonna be in denial. It's almost like the other person, the one that feels more, which in my case, it's the house person. I was the house person. It's almost like no matter how many warnings I got from the spirits, from the universe, from the gods, I still was in denial, because I was like, no. Because in my mind, it was like so perfect. It was like a prince from Disney or something. It was like, the thing is, the moon person, the planet person is gonna feel, if you're the house person, the planet person, right? If you're the house person and you're the one who is in love, who feels more, the planet person, the moon person in this case, right, is gonna feel like the answer to your prayers, okay? This person is gonna feel like a God sent from above in the shape of a boy or a girl. That's what it was to me. So it's almost like no matter how many dreams I had that tried to warn me about him, no matter how many people tried to warn me about him, it didn't matter, because I was so hypnotized by him, There was this unconditional admiration for the moon person coming from the house person. And if there's 10 house involved, you're not gonna be, in my case, his Venus is in my 10th house, so I almost was like not even ashamed to declare my admiration for him in public sometimes, like, workplace. Public, I mean workplace. But of course, I made it very professional. I made it look very professional, but it really came from a very spiritual place. The 12th house is very spiritual. And so it can be very hard to let go. It can be very hard to let go. And many times what you gotta realize, the reason sometimes why 12th house in synastry is gonna feel and be unrequited love is because the other person might be taken. Like that man, that young Asian man is taken. He has a long distance girlfriend. He's in a long distance relationship. He's actually planning to live closer to her in the summer. So it's like there is no future for us, and he's loyal to her. He has moon, he has a lot of Saturn, so in his own natal chart, so he's very loyal, and which is good, right? But it's like, it's just unfortunate. The entire situation is unfortunate. It will be like that with the 12th house, with 12th house synastry in general, especially Moon in the 12th house. Moon is such a delicate planet. When it comes to such a delicate house like the 12th house, it's just, it's heartbreaking. Okay, and it's the last thing I'm gonna say is that's the last element I think I haven't mentioned, is that not only that it's heartbreaking, draining, especially if you have to keep seeing the person, it can feel very draining, very hard emotionally, mentally. It can be very heavy it can feel very heavy on your heart, very heavy on your mind, and it's also, it's very confusing, because here's the thing. The other person might be taken, loyal, and not interested in, and not giving you signals at all yet, because it's so psychic and in between the lines. You're still gonna feel, and you might feel, is the thing, because the moon person, even though they're taken and they're loyal to their spouse, they might still feel something for the house person and might communicate it like subconsciously or like telepathically. And the dreams might sometimes, well, you might get messages that, this person might feel this or that, and they can give you signals. It's kind of very hard to explain, because it can be, there are numerous scenarios how this can play out. What happened with me and this guy is that I felt sometimes that he was very like into me in a way, or liked me, and even though I knew I could never have him because he's already taken, it was, I don't know, I was still kind of like lived inside that he felt something for me. It very much gives that kind of energy, this overlay, because you want the other person desperately to feel something for you, even though they can be with you or want to choose you over the other person, you still want that, yeah, it's very much like that. Yeah, so it can get very confusing, very draining, tiring. It just, very tricky placement. It's not for, honestly, it's not for everyone, but it's really, because it's really not, most cases I've seen 12th house synastry just did not end well. And if it does end well, usually there's just a magical connection, you have a very psychic, spiritual, magical connection with someone, which is good. But I want to say that in most cases, with most people, it's not going to be like that. It's either going to end badly or just in a heartbreak. Even though it didn't end badly, you will still be heartbroken, and it's usually one-sided, I want to say. And if it's not one-sided, it's still going to end, because that's what I've seen with other people with these 12th house overlays in synastry. And and I've also had it with another guy years ago that I mentioned in my other synastry videos, 12th house synastry videos. His moon also was in my 12th house, and and we became secret enemies, and that's the last element that I didn't mention. I'm gonna mention. It's also the 12th house rules secret enemies, so you can become enemies, especially if you have 8th house synastry involved, like I have with this guy. Which, if this guy is not my secret enemy, and I don't think he will be, but it's I just feel everything internally. His Venus is my 10th house, so he's always gonna have respect for me, I feel like, and it helps. 10th house is a very stable house, and with Venus there, I feel like it helps. But yeah, you know, but with other people with other overlays, yeah, it can get dangerous because you might either one of you might tune on each other, on the other person, or both. And I had it with one guy years ago, and we became both enemies of each other. So yeah, so with all that being said, please let me guys know if you want me to make a part 2 of this specific placement, and comment down below. Your stories help me and other people. Please give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And you know, if you want a reading, you can email me. My email is down below. And you know, and if you don't get a reading, you can just, you know, if you're feeling generous, I would really appreciate it if you donated on one of the links down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.